I mean, it's like, oh, this is not good. This is just so bad. Hello, and thank you for checking out the video. I just want to let you know that I not only create content on my YouTube channel, Class in the Glass, but I'm also on Twitch, where I review movies, cartoons, and TV shows live, while also playing single-player games and multiplayer games. I also have a Patreon where subscribers have access to hundreds of video and audio commentaries for films and cartoons, as well as podcasts and videocasts. In the meantime, thank you again for watching. Enjoy the video.
Do you think you're the first woman who's tried to save him?
Oh, no.
But now, my friends, we're about to get into all the good shenanigans for today, including my review for 50 Shades Darker, chat, the sequel to 50 Shades of Grey, the adaptation, the cinematic adaptation of the novels by E.L. James, chat. Now, I'll do a brief overview of what these stories are about in case you're unfamiliar with them. But I do have a quick question for you guys. That question being, oh yeah, you're normal again. Normal. I'm normal-ish, exactly. I'm normal-ish. A little weird. I'm going to be super weird during this review, no doubt about that. But I have, that's funny. I have a question for you guys at the top before we go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty details of this scene by scene breakdown for 50 Shades Darker. That question being, how many of you have seen? Oh, no name woman, thank you for gifting a sub to the Wicked Weekend 21. Thank you so much for your support, Lily. Very, very kind of you. Oh, that's right. Oh, my God, you're right. Only 4 more until 100. That is some incredible support. Thank you so much, Lily. I really do appreciate that. But, chat, got to ask you the question. How many of you have seen 50 Shades Darker? So, not only have you seen 50 Shades of Grey, but have you seen its sequel, chat? I'll be asking you a similar question tomorrow, but I got to know. I've only seen clips and reviews, including your last review from this series. Oh, thank you. Watched all 3 with my best friend a few years back. We were drunk and laughing all the time. Goddamn right. Now, there's a lot to laugh. There's a lot of unintentionally funny scenes in this movie, so that is the best way to watch something like this, because it's not sexy. I never seen any of the 50 Shades movies. Thank God, Cristiano. Thank God for that. You're pure. Melody, Nelson, good to see you. Hello. Never seen any of them. Pleasure to have you, Melody. Good. Also, those reviews. Oh, sure. I knew these books were trash. Yeah, they're trash. I was forced to sell all 3 movies during a girls' night. Able to see. Oh, see, I'm sorry, sell. I was able to see all 3 movies during a girls' night. Oh my God. Did you guys laugh throughout them, or people like, they're like, yeah, this is so hot. I wish I had a Christian Grey in my life. I'm curious about that. Luke Boss, I've seen a bit, and Christian Grey only had 2 shades, creepy and horny. That's pretty much what he is. No, creepy, horny, and controlling. Very manipulative. We'll get to that in just a bit. I'm sorry, yeah, I agree, because I'm sorry you went through that, Toshiba. Because, yeah, chat, so, I have seen, I can say at this point, I've watched all the movies. I didn't see them in theaters or anything like that. I had seen, 50 Shades when I did the review, and I've seen 50 Shades Darker, obviously, a day ago, and I just watched 50 Shades free today, trying to, get a little ahead of myself, preparation for all these streams and all these reviews, chat, and, yes, they are adapted, from the works of E.L. James, chat, the 50 Shades series, which was originally Twilight fan fiction, where you had, I assume, the Bella character as this very demure, woman who catches the eye of this rich industrialist. I mean, I don't know what, he's clearly, he's a corporate guy. I understand that, but he has his hands in literally. I mean, he definitely has his hands up all sorts of places, no doubt about it. But I'm like, I'm still like, I still don't understand, like, what he has a business fucking empire, chat, the Grey Empire, if you will. I mean, he gets into everything. He owns fucking 15 yachts. He owns fucking castles. He owns all sorts of land, chat. It gets into all sorts of businesses. I was like, okay, he's a rich fuck. That's what he is. And I guess that's what Edward was in E.L. James's fan fiction. And, people were just getting off to it so much. And she realized, like, oh, I can make a lot of money off of this. So all she did was just change the names around, change the scenarios around a little bit, and boom! Became a hit book series, chat. apparently turned on a lot of women, turned on maybe some guys too. People got into all the BDSM stuff, but I feel like this is kind of a misunderstanding of BDSM, or at least a poor portrayal. Because again, I haven't read these books, so I can't criticize the books because I haven't read them, but I can criticize the movies most certainly. And what I have seen, it doesn't really get kinky as far as I know, like really kinky. It's like, really? This is like the first one's just boring. The first one has very little kinky stuff. There's a playroom filled with Xboxes, as we all know. Christian Grey loves to play Xbox and slap asses. Yeah, it's like that's the big thing. The kinkiest the last movie got is a little bit of bondage, I would say, and a fly swatter on the butt. And that's about it. And I'm like, I don't think that's how that works. I think there's like a lot more to it. But the real thing that has always bothered me, and they get into more of the kinky stuff in this film, at least they try to. There's definitely a lot more sex scenes in this one. There's a lot more toys in this one and things. But the thing that really bothers me about this movie, this movie and its sequel, and obviously the third one, it's just that it kind of portrays people who are into BDSM as just pieces of shit. But the movie seems unaware of that fact, because Christian Grey, he's a nasty person. And then they just use excuses for like, well, he had a tragic and traumatic past, and that's the way he is. It's like, okay, that's an excuse, his despicable behavior. He's controlling, he's manipulative. He's a creeper to the nth degree, Chad. He stalks all of these women. He stalks this girl. The thing is, with the character of, not Bella, but her name is Anastasia Steele. Sounds like a porn name. But, Annie, even though she's the kind of person where she's like, she's interested in it first, and she indulges in it, and then she's like, no, I don't want to do this, but she's constantly, like, trailing him along the whole time. It's like, girl, fucking stand up for yourself, like, across the board. It just, like, a shitty male character and a really shitty female character. I was like, this is just a bad representation of BDSM and those that indulge in it, and this kind of behavior that we see in these films, like, not even the BDSM stuff, it's not even that, it's just the creepiness and the stalking, and the how Christian views women. I mean, we'll get into how he fucking views women, because it's like, what the hell? It was like, what? Wait, what? And like, there's several reveals in this movie that are both uses excuses for why he is the way he is, and others that are just so thoroughly ridiculous you just can't believe, you can't help but laugh. But really, at the end of the day, it's just, this is like a really unhealthy relationship, and for me, I don't think this should be celebrated or yearned for, in my opinion. But it's a huge franchise, made a lot of fucking money, even though every single film did make less than its original. Where I think the original 50 Shades made like $500 million or something like that, or close to it. And they all had like the same budget, about $55 million. This made like $381 million, and I guess like the third one made, I think, $300+ million, but not as much as this particular film. So there's not as big returns for every single entry in this franchise. You just realize like, this is really boring, and it just shows really toxic behavior, chap. But and this was my first time watching it a day ago. So all I can say is, I mean, I'll tell you right now, chat, yes, fuck this movie. But I will say it made me laugh multiple times, because it is pretty unintentionally funny. And I mean, if I had to say something positive about it, I guess some of the cinematography, other than it being unintentionally funny, I think some of the cinematography is like, that's good. You spent some money on there, but everything else about the movie, chat, like from the writing to the acting, to the twists, to the fake outs, to the big reveals, it's just dumb, or just has you laughing. Or it kind of offends you and just kind of disgusts you. That's what it is, shit. It's not, and the thing that it's trying to sell, Wiki Weekend, right there. The thing that it's trying to sell, it's not like we're trying to be sexy. It's not really sexy, like, at all. I mean, I guess they do show off. Well, the thing is weird. There's a little bit of nudity in this movie, but not a lot of nudity. There's only like one scene, like we do not see, like at least in the last movie, we saw the shaft of Christian Grey's penis, chat, with all that mound of, pubic hair. Here, there's no peen shots. There's no dick in this at all. I'm like, come on, give something for the, people that are looking there for it. But we do see Anastasia's bazungas and and her booty a lot. Like we have one bazunga shot with Anastasia on the bed, and then after that, just butt shots. A lot of butt shots. Outside of that, nothing much. It's just like, yeah, it's not, it's like most of them are, it's just weird. Most of the time they're wearing clothes when they're making love. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It's weird. I don't understand, chat. I don't understand. This movie is not so you just look at Kim Bass. Oh, yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk about Kim Basinger because she looked like a zombie in this movie. I don't mean to be mean to her or anything like that, but it's like she's like, the secret to eternal youth is Botox. And it's like, no, it's not. Your face is melting. Your face is melting. Stop it. And we'll talk. Like literally, it looked like her pores were exploding out of her face. Especially in the ending scene, I was like, I think the Botox is fighting to escape from her face. It's like, can someone save Kim? Oh my God. Like, it's like, it was like body horror. She has like a Cronenberg movie when she comes on. Witness me. Witness the Botox. Edgy Berserker. Good to have you here. Edgy Berserker chat, please give her some support. Follow, subscribe to her, donate to her. Playing the video games, doing the drawings. I'd appreciate that. Yeah, Botox doesn't work. I just don't do it. Age naturally. I'd never like it. I just never like it. Holy Sharb! Good to see you. Thank you. Welcome to stream. Devin the Great, a pleasure to have you here too. Look at all the quality people. Thank you, Edgy Berserker. We're about to get into nitty-gritty details of 50 Shades Darker. Just kind of giving my general opinions on the movie and already prepping people for what my rating inevitably is going to witness the Botox! And you don't want to witness it though. It's just like the horror. The horror. Just don't do it. It's not going to look great. Just age naturally, please. Holy Sharb, thank you for the follow. You're my new Huckleberry. I hope you're doing very well today. I know there's a lot of pressure put on women to like constantly always like look young and look vibrant, but and that's shitty. That's a part of our culture and the celebrity culture and things like, no, I mean, listen, we all get old. I'm gonna look old as fuck. Women are gonna look old. That's just how it's gonna be. And I just wish there wasn't so much shaming and body shaming for someone just as aging naturally, because that's what gets in the heads of all these people, whether it be male or female. Where they're like, they have to feel like they have to get these injections, but you just ruin your body that way. Just don't do it. At least that's how I feel. That's me. Oh, but yeah, we got to go ahead. We got to get started with my scene by scene breakdown of 50 Shades Darker, chat. And we start with Christian Grey completely butt-ass naked in his bed, not jerking off. He was like, okay, here we go. We're finally going to get a nice peen shot. We only saw the shaft, but now we're going to see all of it. And he's going, and it's like, oh my God, he's coming right now. It's like, no, he's not. He's having a nightmare, Chad. He's having a night terror. No, stay back. And we go inside the mind, not inside any other orifice. We go inside the mind of Christian Grey, chat, where it literally, I love how for the filter effect for a flashback, it is all in gray. Get it? Because anyway. We go into this flashback, chat, and apparently he lives in a tenement, and it's a really shitty-looking tenement building. It's like set in like the 1930s. Like, what fucking decade are we in? Did they still make houses like this? It's like, I mean, what is this? It looks like it was from the 1930s, shit. Like, fucking kids and adults were wearing, caps, and they looked like the Newsies and stuff. And I was like, okay, this is a little weird. He has made himself like a makeshift bandana mask, and he is tied around like a kitchen cloth as a cape around his neck, and he's zooming around the room, Che. He's like, he's just little Christian Grey growing up in the 1930s where everything had a gray color palette and stuff and living in a tenement building. But then, we hear some stuff going on in the kitchen, Che, and we hear this one guy going, you stupid fucking broad, you goddamn slut, that's all you're good for. It's all you're good for is the men just filling you up, all right? Where's my money? Where's money? He's like, I don't fucking have the money. I spent it on the crack. And he's like, you dumb broad. Bah! And we just hear this slap. We hear all these slaps. And then Christian Grey, who's seeing all this, little Christian Grey, he then runs to the other part of the tenement room, and he hides under this table, and it's like, that's really bad because, I mean, one, we can see you, so he's not that smart, Chad. He's not that smart of a kid, because if I entered the room, it's like, he's right there. It'll be very easy to get him. He hides under there, and he cries and shit, and then the guy comes back, and he's like, yeah, you little shit, here, I got something for you. You want to smoke? He's like, no, and we cut. And he wakes up, he's like, ah! Almost like he sounded like he came or something. He's like, and then we immediately cut. from him crying, and then I think he proceeds to jerk off. But then we cut, and now it's flowers. It's now we get the title screens, and it's a whole bunch of flowers like in bloom chat, which is, you know, I guess sexual in nature. And then what happens is we see Anastasia steal chat, good old Annie. She comes to the door, she opens this door, and there's this flower guy who has this giant fucking vase filled with all these white roses and shit. And he's like, I have this. Can you take it? It's very heavy. She's like, okay, thanks. And so she gets all the flowers and stuff, takes them into her apartment, puts them down. There's like a little card in the bushel of flowers. She takes it, and it says, handwritten, it says, good luck at your new job. And she flips the card over, and it says, courtesy of Christian Grey. And then she puts the card back in the flowers, and she takes it, and she waddles over to her trash can, opens the trash can. She just kind of stands there for like a minute, and it's like, this is a weird cut. But she doesn't throw them out. She doesn't throw them out. And matter of fact, no. She can't throw out the flowers, much like she can't throw out Christian Grey. She remembers him, chat. She can't let him go. And she puts the flowers back on her kitchen table. Then we get a montage of the most hilarious montage ever, because Anastasia Steele, she leaves her apartment, and behind her for the next 5 minutes, I don't know what this character's name is. I'm just going to refer to her as Gollum Girl, a Schmeagle. There's literally a Schmeagle following her everywhere. And apparently, Anna has no peripheral vision. She's like a fucking horse chat. She's got the blinders on. She can only see what's directly in front of her. Can't see to the right, can't see to the left. Will never look behind her, chat. She's like, I go forward, okay? I don't go backward, baby. But this weird Gollum girl who looks like kind of like a shittier version of her, where her hair's not being kept at all. It's kind of like all hanging down. Clearly hasn't been washed. You know, she has these dark circles under her eyes, and she's just always staring at Anastasia. And just going, why, precious? And like, no, everyone else is like, what the fuck? But Anastasia's like, la, 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 la. She just has no fucking clue what the hell is going on, chat. Eventually, she gets to work. And she works for a publisher, chat, a book publisher, and she just started a new job. She is the assistant. She is the senior assistant to the editor of this publishing company. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. This guy's name is Mr. Hyde. And I'm like, okay, I get it. He's the villain. You literally named him after one of the greatest fictional villains of horror, of science fiction. Mr. Hyde, chat, get it? Like Jekyll and Hyde, but he's so handsome and blonde and white. He can't be a bad guy. And he's there, and he's constantly on Anna, just saying, oh, Anna, I just have to say, you are the best assistant I've had. I mean, I've had like 3 left me in like the last 18 months, but you are like the best. You are like the absolute best. She's like, oh, thank you. I'm just really happy to be here. And there's another person that works at this publishing firm, and it's this one girl named Hannah. And Hannah is constantly, man, fuck Hannah. I'm gonna tell you right now, fuck Hannah. I'm like, fuck this character. I'm fierce in HR. Oh, we'll talk about HR in this movie. She's constantly looking at Mr. Hyde and also on Anna, and just goes, well, it's none of my business. It's like, yes, it is, based on what we soon know. Oh, it's very twisty, no name. We got some twisty twists. But Hannah's always eyeing. It's like, uh-oh, is that some foreshadowing? Does she know something that we as the audience do not? Is Mr. Hyde actually a villain? We'll find out. Then we get someone from fucking HR. Oh my God. We get someone from like HR that stops by, and like the HR woman like looks at Anna and then looks at Mr. Hyde and goes, oh, it's so good to have you on board, Anna. Thank you. She goes, yeah, I just love books and stuff. And she's like, that's great. And Mr. Hyde's like, oh, hi, our favorite member of HR. How you doing? Anything I should know? Anything I need to be aware of? She's like, no, just came to check on everything. She's like, haha, great. All right, I'll see you later then, huh? And she's like, yeah. And so this HR lady should have been fucking fired, based on what we learned later on in the movie. It's all setting up like, ooh, there's something percolating. There's something that we don't, I mean, it's obvious what was happening. It's like this guy's been fucking and assaulting everyone in the office, but we don't know that yet, because we're all supposed to be dumb. Anyway, it's the end of the work day, and Anna, she has to go see her friend's Jesse, who, wait a minute, is Jesse the same guy who tried to assault her in the first movie? Because it looks at, it's human resources, in case that people don't know, that's what HR is, human resources. The purpose of human resources is to obviously assist employees from all aspects. One, to make sure that they are safe and protected in their work environment. I mean, dealing with like any personal needs, that kind of thing. And there's all these big things where HR just completely fails. Like Activision, they had an HR department, but that didn't work. And it just ensures the protection, the safety, and the well-being of your employees. That's what that division function says. But then she's the end of the workday, and she's like, all right, bye, Mr. Hyde. He's like, goodbye, Anna. And he just, because he notices that she's all dressed up in this like really tight red outfit, and he goes, well, you're looking lovely tonight. Going somewhere? And she goes, yeah, my friend Jesse, who I think may have assaulted me in the last movie. And it's like, wow, not the best taste in men, chat. He has this art exhibition. I'm going to go to it. And he's like, oh, that sounds fun. Well, hate to see you leave. She goes, yeah. And then she walks away, but he's like, I love to watch her go. And he just stares at her ass, and Hannah is looking at him and looking at her and just going, none of my business. It's like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. You should report this to HR. Whatever. And then she goes to the art exhibition. And she walks in, she's like, ooh, drinks and hors d'oeuvres, and she's eating and drinking, and then she walks into Jesse's, again, Jesse, who maybe assaulted her in the last movie, and she's like indulging him, I guess, and she goes to his exhibition, where all of his artwork is photography, and it's all giant fucking pictures of her. That's what it is. It's like these 24 by 36, like, posters of Anastasia Steele just going like, or just, oh, and just going, oh, like all that. And she's like, oh my God. And Jesse's like, hey, Anna, hey, do you like it? She goes, it's just like pictures of me. And she goes, yeah, I mean, we took the photos. I told you. She goes, yeah, but it's like, they're like really big and stuff. He goes, yeah. And all of a sudden this person comes over. I guess it's the art exhibit owner or whatever. And she says, someone has just bought all 6 of your pictures. And it's a single man that did it. And he goes, Anna, you won't believe it. Well, some guy just bought all of my artwork, of all the pictures of you. You must have an admirer. And immediately behind her is Christian Grey. And it's like, God, Jesus. And it's like someone put a bell on him. She's like, hello, Anna. And she's like, Christian, I don't want to see you anymore. Jesus Christ, just get out of here. She goes, Anna, I yearn for you so much, and I just needed to have you with me at all times. That's why I bought these pictures. Can we just talk? And she's like, okay. And so they immediately go and talk. It's like after everything they went through in the last film, and she's creeped out by him, and she doesn't like how controlling he is. She's like, you know what? Let's just do it. And so what they do is they go to dinner. They go to dinner, and he's still fucking weird. Where he's like, we'll have the steaks. And she's like, I'll actually have the salad. And he's like, fine. I'll have the steak. She'll have the salad. And let me get some of this like wine. And he's like, sir, we only have that in bottles. He's like, whatever, fine, I'll take the bottle. It's like, stop being rude to the waiters, you asshole. It's like, come on, man. I mean, the service industry is difficult enough. Like, he's just being a dick. I was like, this guy clearly has not learned. And she is indulging him right now. And they're just kind of sitting there, and it's just stupid fucking conversation. She's like, why did you come back? He's like, because I needed to see you again. And it's only been a couple of months. He goes, I know, but I need you. I've never felt this way about anyone before. You never felt this way about all the subs that you've had? He's like, no, you're different. They didn't please me like you pleased me. And then the waiter comes back, and he's like, he stops because he doesn't want to talk about it in public. And the waiter just struggles to open this bottle of wine for 5 minutes. The preacher's like, we got it. I can do it. We got it. Okay, we got it. And she's like, well, listen, Christian, like, you're still hot and stuff, and I love that you're rich and everything. But, if you want me back, we have to establish some terms, okay? All right? It's like, I don't want any kinky butt stuff anymore. I don't want any BDSM. He's like, oh, but I love kinky butt stuff, but I love BDSM. She's like, I know, okay, I know. and there can be no more secrets between us anymore. It's like, no more secrets. You have to be an open book because I love reading. I love books. And he goes, oh, okay. All right, fine. She's like, yeah, I guess we'll just do as you call it. We'll have a vanilla relationship. And he's like, vanilla? I hate that flavor. Fine, we'll have a vanilla relationship. She's like, okay, so you have to tell me about yourself. You have to reveal something about yourself that you never told me before. He's like, okay, Anna, okay, fine. And we get like the first, I mean, already it's been very funny, but the seriousness at which he says this next line kills me. He's like, okay, Anna, I'll reveal the truth to you. I'm a crack baby. And it's like, okay. He says, my mother, my slut, his birth mother, Chad. That's the thing I forgot about. It's like, oh yeah, he was adopted. Him and his brother were adopted into the Christian Grey family. That's what it was. But he says, my mother was a crack whore. She was a slut, and she was doing blowjobs on the corners for $5 a pop. And one of those times, she got filled up by somebody, and I popped out eventually, and I was a crack baby. And she's like, oh my God, you were a crack baby. He's like, yes, now you know my origin story. It's like, okay. It was almost like a superhero origin story because in the flashback, we see him with like a cape and a mask on. So it's like, yeah, there you go. He was a crack baby, chat. And I was adopted. I was adopted by the Greys because they took pity on me. But I hate weakness, Anna. I like to dominate over weakness, as you know. I am a dom. And she's like, oh, that's cool and stuff. You want to go grocery shopping? And she's like, I mean, we literally are eating food. Okay. Actually, I think this takes place later on. But you know, they finish their fucking meal or whatever. And she's like, okay, let's go. And they're like gonna settle for a vanilla relationship. And then fucking Tyler, who is, I don't know, is Christian Grey's Alfred, if you will, who handles all the weird kinky sex stuff and gets him the things that he always needs. He drops her off at her place. And he presents her with this box, which is, it's a gray box of a black ribbon, Chad. Ooh, mysterious. And she's like, thank you. He's like, I was very happy to see you tonight, Anna. But please use these to contact me in the future. Do not call me on your regular cell phone. Do not use your computer or your regular email address. All that has been provided to you. And again, she said, I don't want to do shit like this. But she's like, okay. And so then she goes back into her fucking apartment, and oh God, and she opens up the thing. It's the computer, and it's the cell phone, and stuff like that. You see a text message where Christian is like immediately texting her. It was almost like there's cameras in the apartment. And he's like, hey, you up? And she goes, I'm really sleepy right now. Laters. And she literally types in laters, baby. And he's like, oh, fine, whatever. Eventually, we cut back to the the publishing company, where Mr. Hyde, it's Friday, it's fucking Friday, Chad, and it's happy hour, and he's like, hey, Anna, at the office here, we have happy hour. She goes, oh, is everyone gonna go? And he's like, well, no, I just thought it could just be you and me this time, and then we can get, like, more people involved. She goes, okay, that sounds fun. Let's go to a bar. Oh, but, that's the thing, though. I have, like, my boyfriend. He's going to come pick me up soon. So, like, can he meet us at the bar? Can we hang out? And he's like, yeah, of course. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, sure. And she's like, okay, cool. And then the HR lady comes back. She goes, happy hour? He goes, yeah, you know the thing that we always do every Friday? HR lady remembered? She goes, yeah, of course. Yeah, happy hour. Well, I gotta, keep I gotta keep control in the HR department. We have a lot of work going there. You two enjoy yourself. I join you for always our weekly happy hour session, but I cannot. And Hannah in the background is just going, well, they're fucking lying. She's not saying anything. She's just typing and just going like, oh, I ain't getting involved. She's been through this before. And then they eventually they leave, Mr. Hyde and Anna. And again, right outside the office, chat, is the Gollum girl just going, oh, why? It's like, okay. She doesn't notice her then. They then go to the bar, and, Mr. Hyde orders 2 beers, 2 brewskis, chat. And then immediately, Christian has come into the bar, and he goes, "What's all this? What's this?" She goes, "Oh, hi, this is my boyfriend, Christian Grey. This is my boss, Jack Hyde." And Christian Grey's like, "Hi, how you doing?" He goes, "Well, nice to meet you, Mr. Grey." And he goes, yes. You know what? I think we'll have these beers at another time. We need to go. We have plans." And he's like, "Yeah, no problem at all. Rain check. Of course. And he's like, "Good." And she's like, "I'm sorry, Mr. Hyde." And they leave. They walk out. And Mr. Hyde just goes, "Wait a minute." That's just like, what does that mean? What is this? He's remembering something, chat. We'll get to that in a bit. Don't worry. It comes at the end of the fucking movie. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But they leave. They fucking leave. And at this point, we gotta go and do boring couple stuff. We gotta do, because that's the thing. She's like, "Christian, listen, if we're gonna have a relationship continue, okay, you can't be so domineering, all right?" And he's like, "Well, fine, all right." It's like, just because I have other guys in my life, like, Mr. Hyde is my friend. It's not like he has taken control of the HR department and is threatening to fire everyone, or is like looking at my ass, even though I can't look behind me or side to side like a normal person. He's a good guy, Christian Grey. And he's like, "Fine, if you say so." He's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" "Let's go do grocery shopping." He's like, "I don't want to do poor people's stuff." And he's like, "It'll be fun." And they go to the supermarket, and he is miserable because he hates doing the stuff that poors do, chat, which is shopping for their own food. And she's like, "When was the last time you went shopping?" He's like, "Last week in Houston." And she goes, "Oh, what did you buy?" "I bought an airline." And she goes, "Oh, cool." And then she goes, "Let's go to ice cream. I love ice cream." He's like, "Okay, fine." And they go to the ice cream section. He's like, "Oh, poor people." And she opens up like this one ice cream door. She grabs some ice cream. She goes, "Here's catch." And he catches it. It's vanilla, your new favorite flavor. And he goes, and they put it in there. Then they go back to his apartment or whatever. And maybe it's her apartment. No, I think it's her apartment. It's her apartment. And they start cooking. He's like, "I hate cooking. I feel like a poor person." She goes, "But it's really fun and stuff. I like to do stuff." And she goes, I know. And then she's just like rubbing up on him now. She's like rubbing her butt up on him. And she's like touching him. And then she touches his chest. And he's like, whoa. No, that's the thing. She goes in for a hug. That's the thing, because she's touching all like his thighs and his hands and his arms. And then she goes in like, hugs. And he's like, no, I don't like hugs. This is the region. He's like, he even points it out. This is the region. You do not touch this, okay? Christian, I can't believe it. This is his line in the movie, chat. He goes, "I don't do hugs. I eat pussy." And then they go, so he's the opposite of Batman, chat. And so they go to the bedroom, and he eats her out. Chat, and they have the sex, and it's, you don't see anything. You don't see, because she keeps the bra on. They shoot in such a way where you don't see him going, like, he's going down on her, but it's filmed where it's like everything's blocking. And I'm like, whatever. And they fuck. And then it's like later, I guess it's in the early morning. Oh, sorry, it's later in the night, early morning, whatever. And, Christian wakes up. He's like, "Oh, Jesus." And Anna sits down. She's like, "Sorry, I don't have like a rich guy breakfast, but I have orange juice." He's like, "Bet it's poor people orange juice." And he drinks it. Tropicana. Bleh. He does not like Tropicana orange juice. Apparently, to Christian Grey, that is the juice of the poors. And he's like, "Here's your check." Because apparently part of the deal is for all this stuff, even though she said, "I don't want to do kinky stuff," I guess in his mind, like, anything sexual is kinky, or he just can't help it. Like, I have to reciprocate you for having sex with me. And so he's like, "Here's your first $24,000 check for this week." And she's like, "Christian, no, I'm not a fucking whore." "Take it. I won't accept this. He's like, no. She's like, "This is way too much money." He's like, "Anna, I make $24,000 every 15 minutes, okay? Keep the money." She's like, "This isn't an exchange of goods, okay? This is a relationship." And she like rips up the check and goes, "Bah!" She rips it up, and then he gets out of bed, and he's completely naked, chat. He's completely naked, but we only see a little bit of the booty. We only see a little bit of that booty butt, chat. And other than that, we see no peen, no shaft. They don't even show the pubic hair. I know it was fake in the original movie, like he wore like a prosthesis, a prosthetic penis. But I'm like, come on, man, give something, come on. But we don't see nothing. And he gets to his cell phone, and then he says, he calls someone, and he's like, please deposit the $24,000 into Miss Anastasia Steele's bank account. And she's like, how do you have my banking? And they do it instantly. And she's like, wait a minute, how do you have my banking information? How do you know my checking account and saving account? And he's like, ha. And he just walks out of the room. And I'm like, wait a minute. Well, that's a good question, but nope. And that's like, at that point, I'm like, all right, you're being weird and creepy and manipulative and controlling. And she just lets it slide. It's like, God damn it, girl. They then go to have breakfast because he's like, I can't drink this poor Tropicana juice, okay? This is the liquid of the pores. And let's go get a proper breakfast brunch where it's like $125 for some eggs and sausages. And they go there. He's like, hey, you want to go to a ball? You want to be a princess and stuff? And she's like, I never been to a ball. I don't know. I don't know what to do. He's like, it's okay. I'll just completely remake you in an image that is acceptable for all my rich friends. She's like, okay, that's cool. And so they then go. That's the thing. They walk out. But then finally, at this point in the movie, I don't know what it is, chat, but Anastasia's peripheral vision kicks in, and she notices the Gollum girl like across the street because she's like, she looks familiar, and she's like, hey, Christian. And then when she's like, he gets his attention, she turns around, and the Gollum girl apparently, chat, has Batman abilities or is able to teleport like a fucking wizard because she's just gone. Maybe she had the one ring. She turned invisible, chat. And he's like, what is it? And she's like, there's like this weird Gollum girl who's been following me the whole time. I don't only see her when I look straight ahead, but then she was there and then she's like not there. And he's like, oh, I wouldn't worry about it. I'm sure it's fine. She's like, okay. And so he's like, here, let's go get your hair done. And because we got to change your hair and everything because you're unacceptable among my rich friends. And so they go to this salon. She goes in there, and then Christian Grey then goes up to, I guess, the owner of this. And it's a boutique salon, chat. So it's massive. And it seems to have like a very wealthy clientele. But he goes up to this woman, which is Kim Basinger, chat, which I don't mean to be mean, but it looks like throughout this movie, her face is so swollen that she sometimes just looks like a cat. Or the Botox is just literally trying to burst out of her pores. She just looks like... It's like she's super shiny and she just looks moist constantly. And I'm like, that's sad. The thing is, he goes up to her and they do the little, like, mwah, mwah, on the other side. And then she just grabs his ass. She just grabs that in front of everybody. She just, sinks her fucking, a 12, or 2-inch nails into that chunky man meat. And Anastasia realizes, like, oh my God, he took me to see his dom, the woman, chat, who had sex with him, who raped him when he was 14 years old, and he was her sub for like 6 years until he turned, because Christian's supposed to be 24 years old in this movie, which is like, give me a fucking break. Him and Anastasia are not 24 years old, but whatever, we'll go with it. And he was her sub for 6 years, chat, and they still have, and she's like gross and weirded out by this. She goes outside, and the Gollum girl is there. She's like, wait a minute, it's the Gollum girl. And then this bus goes, right, it's, give me a break. The bus goes right by, and she's just gone. So I don't know, as we all know, Schmiegel's able to, climb up a lot of vertical surfaces, chat. So I can only imagine she just yeeted herself at the bus and just like was on the window as it drove on. But then Christian Grey comes out and he goes, let's go get your hair done. She's like, was that her? Was Kim Basinger your dom? She goes, she's no longer my dom anymore. She's just my friend. Christian, she raped you when you were 14. He's like, I mean, I got over it. It's like, clearly you did not. You have not, because she's grabbing your ass right now. And she's like, no, no, I don't like this. I hate this. This is the worst. She was an abuser. She was an abuser, clearly. And he's like, all right, well, listen, let's just go. And he's like, she keeps telling him about this other girl too. That's the thing, like, this Gollum girl. And he's like, oh shit. Yeah, okay, I probably should. Let's go back to my office. We'll talk about it. And so they go back to the office, and he reveals, because she says, like, no more secrets, Christian. Like, who is this person? She's stalking me. What's going on? And he reveals that Gollum girl is a former lover of his. I don't know what her fucking name is. Lei? I think her name is Lee or something. Or Lei? Like Lei, like Lei. And she's like, yeah, she's been obsessed with me ever since. What happened was I did my thing with her, and I was like, all right, you're free to go, whatever. And she loves me so much, and she tried to kill herself. And she pops up every once in a while, and she's like, Christian, you just can't, like, throw people away and think like you own them and stuff. And he's like, but I was a crack baby. She's like, okay, true. And she's like, you need to open yourself up more. And he's like, okay, fine. Do you have any lipstick? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, let's go into the kitchen. And they go into the kitchen, and he's like, and he removes his shirt, chat, and you see his, I guess I didn't notice this before, but on his chest, there's a ton of cigarette burns on his chest, or I guess his dad or Kim Basinger burned him with cigarette butts. I don't know. And he's like, trace around my chest. And she's like, okay. She takes the lipstick, and she's tracing around his chest. He's going, like, he doesn't like to be touched there. And he's like, he does this circle from the nips chat, all the way kind of right above the nippies, all the way down to the kind of the groin region, right underneath the tummy. And he's like, this is my no zone, okay? This is my no zone. Anywhere else in my body you can touch, but you don't touch the no zone. And she's like, okay, let's have sex. And then, actually before that, they kiss and stuff, and he's like, before we have the sex, I have gotten the hairdresser. I have a hairdresser who's coming to here that works for Kim Basinger. She's like, well, that's kind of weird, but fine. And so the hairdresser comes in, and he does her hair up, and she looks cool and stuff. And then afterwards, she goes into his Xbox room, which is his sex dungeon. I called the Xbox room, chat, because, it's funny, because he said, so is your sex dungeon filled with your Xbox and stuff? There is no Xbox, chat. She goes in there, and she starts wearing all these, like, corsets and outfits and showing off her butt. I will say, a lot of butt shots of Anastasia Steele. I think that's the actress. She's like, listen, I'll do one topless scene. After that, my butt, that you can put that on full display. I got a cute butt, so go for it. And she's wearing, like, this black, lingerie. And he sees her, and she's like, stop gawking. He's like, make me. And then he walks over there, and he reveals these two metallic steel balls, chat. They're like, about this big, like a jawbreaker. And he, like, presents, he's like, you want to have some fun? Because I guess they're going to is the ball tonight? Yeah, the ball is tonight. The ball's tonight or whatever. So I guess they had sex after the whole lipstick thing, and then it's the next day. That's what it is. And she's like, I don't want those inside my butt. And he's like, haha, silly. They don't go in your butt. And she's like, well, where do they go? He's like, oh, I'll show you. But open up your mouth for me. We got to make sure they're nice and wet. And so she's like, ah. And then he puts them in her mouth, like one after the other. And he's like, okay, good. Now bend down. And she's like, oh, God. And then he puts them right up there, chat, right up the baby maker, right up the vagine. And she's like, oh. And he's like, how do they feel? And he's like, if they feel like weird. And he's like, oh, they'll make you feel all sorts of things later in the evening. So she keeps these balls, these steel balls in her vagine for like 24 hours. They're just up in there, chat. And every time she walks, she's like, just they hear that clicking clacking from the balls. After that, she gets dressed up. She gets all dressed up, chat. And it's a mask ball because it's all a bunch of rich people, and they're all, you know, like, they have the gold gilding and everything, and they go there, and fucking Christian Grey reintroduces Anna to his mom, and the mom's like, oh, Christian was completely a mess without you, Anastasia. I like you so much. I consider you a daughter. When are you two gonna get married? He's like, Mom, not right now. Stop it. She goes, okay, well, you two have fun. And then the sister comes over, and it's just like, oh my, and the sister is relatively normal, I guess. With also too, Anastasia's contacted by her friend, the reporter who fell in love with Christian's brother, who is normal, and they're having a great time. They're like almost on their honeymoon. I think they got married or something. So, you know, they're doing okay. It's just Christian who's fucked up, chap. But the sister comes over. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe you got back with my brother. That's insane. That's crazy. You know, I mean, he goes through women like fucking bottles of water. He's like, shut up, sister, shut up. And he's like, I mean, did you know that and he just brings up all these random facts. Like, did you know that he got expelled from like 4 universities in the span of a single year for brawling? He's like, shut up, whatever. He's like, okay, bye. And she leaves. And then there's going to be an auction, a rich people auction. They're going to sell rich people stuff. And they sit down. And apparently, the first bid up is this this vacation in the Swiss Alps or whatever, that was donated by Christian Grey for a skiing resort. I don't know, some bullshit rich people stuff. And Anna, she buys the things for $24,000. She buys the tickets, you know, and for this charity event. And Christian Grey's like, why did you do that? And he's like, why did you spend that money like that? And she goes, well, now it's going to go to people that actually need it. A bunch of rich white people. And he goes, fair enough. After that, oh God, after that chat, he's like, well, you spending all that money just made me hard. It made me so hard. It just makes me want to punish you and spank you. She goes, oh yeah? You want to spank me? He goes, yes. And he slaps her thigh. She goes, huh? She's like, okay, let's find like a place where we can fuck. And they go to this other, it's a big fucking house or whatever. So they go to a room in the house. And he apparently carries around a fly swatter, as we all do. As we all do, you know. Valkyrie with the activities. Have you ever met a stranger in Alps? Thank you for the 10 days, Valkyrie. But they go to find this room, and he produces his fly swatter, and he's like bend over, and he rips her pants off, or lifts her dress up, actually, and just starts fucking, just starts going to town on them two cheeks. She's like, oh my God, Jesus. She really liked it. After that, they finish up and they're heading back to the room, but fucking Anastasia's like, I gotta pee. No, she's like, I gotta poop. That's what she is. Like, all that spanking just worked up everything in my butt. I gotta go poop. And so she goes and poops. And then who's in the bathroom waiting for her, Chad? Kim Basinger. She's like, yeah, all that spanking makes you poop, doesn't it? And she's like, get away from me, Kim Basinger. I don't like you. She's like, you're not what Christian Grey needs. I'm what he needs. And again, she just looks like a hobgoblin at this point. Face is like literally melting. Botox is just running to rupture, chat. It's like, Jesus. And she's like, let me tell you something right now, Kim Basinger, okay? You leave him alone and leave me the fuck alone. He doesn't need you. You're an abuser. You're a pedophile. And she's like, and then she walks out and stuff. And then Christian's like, hey, I think we should get going soon. He's like, I want to go now. Let's go now. And he's like, okay. And it's like, let's go to the elevator. And this whole fucking scene here, Chad, kills me. Is she from Batman 89? Yeah. That's Kim Basinger. Yep, she that collagen did not help. That Botox did not help, Chad. So it's like, ooh, does not look good. Thank you for that 2 bits, by the way. But they go to the elevator, and Christian's like, well, I'm going to make you feel better. And, like, you know, all these people, it's not just them in the elevator. Like, a ton of people also get in the elevator, and he decides, well, I'm going to finger your vagine while we're in the elevator of all these people. And the 2 steel balls are up there, Chad. So what he's doing is he's putting the fingers up there. He's also pulling on the steel balls. And she's like, oh! And, like, no one seems to notice or care, even though she's going, ugh. And like, everyone's like, yeah, whatever. I was like, what? And after that, She's like, well, that made me feel a little bit better doing all the fingering and steel ball stuff in my vagina. But I want to go back to my car in the parking garage that we in my apartment or whatever. Fuck it. And so they get in all these cars, and they're driving her back to her car. The thing is, though, I guess the security, because it's like 3 fucking black SUVs, and the first SUV is like, so we seem to have a situation up here. And he's like, let's stop the cars. And they all get out in the parking garage, and they go and see the car, Anna's car, and they're like, oh no. Anna gets out. She's like, what's going on? What are you guys looking at? And she sees the car's been trashed, chat. And it's like this red car, and all of this gray paint. Get it, chat? Christian Grey. All this gray paint has been thrown on the ruby red car. And she's like, oh my God, like what happened to my car? What's going on? He's like, you want to go on my yacht? And she's like, okay. And so he takes her away because, car troubles are always a pain in the ass. They're a major inconvenience. You got insurance companies, got to find a new car, probably got to pay a little bit out of pocket. It sucks. But, she's like, well, do you think the Gollum girl might have done this? She's like, don't worry, I will deal with the Gollum girl. But for right now, let's go into my yacht. And so they go to his yacht, chat, and they make love in the shower. And again, you see no butts, you see no peens, you see no bazoongas, just a very PG-13 sex scene. And the next day, she wakes up and nothing's shown. And she goes up, and apparently he's sailing away somewhere. And he's like, I thought it would be good if we go ahead and take a vacation. And she's like, I mean, you probably should have asked me first. And he's like, oh, whatever. You want to have a boat montage? She's like, yeah. And then we just get a whole, and I guess this is the best cinematography in the movie because it's all these shots of them on the boat and them sailing the boat and them drinking on the boat and them fucking on the boat. And a lot of boat scenes in here, a lot of boat scenes, chat. Eventually, after the boat montage, after the boat montage, chat, we then cut. Oh, that's the thing too, because they reveal when they're on the boat and stuff that Christian's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna get in the publishing industry. And she's like, what do you mean? Oh, I'm gonna buy the publishing firm you work for. She's like, no, I don't want you. That's just so weird. It's gonna be weird because I'm fucking my boss. He's like, well, no, technically you'll be fucking your boss's boss. That's what it will be. And she goes like, Christian, please don't buy the publishing firm, okay? He's like, I will not buy the publishing firm. And she's like, are you lying to me? And he's like, no. He's lying, Chad. He's fucking lying. Guys, he's a manipulative piece of shit. Thank you. Arthronodon. Good name. I like that. You sound like a dinosaur. Arthronodon. Welcome to streaming my new Huckleberry. So we cut, and Anna's back at work. And Mr. Hyde is starting to be kind of like a bit of a jerk to Anna now, where he's like, Anna, did you book the flight for my meeting, whatever, in Colorado? I don't know, some bullshit. And she's like, yeah, I know your flight. It's the time you're going to leave and stuff. He's like, well, did you get a ticket for yourself too? She goes, no, you didn't tell me to buy a ticket for myself. I didn't know I was coming with you. He's like, well, as you all know, publishers need to have their senior assistant accompany them on every single trip they do, Anna. Didn't you know that? And I'm like, I don't think that's true. I don't think it's true at all. She's like, oh, I didn't. I'm sorry. He's like, it's fine. It's totally fine. I'm sure you're just busy with your rich boyfriend, Christian Grey. And she's like, well, I mean, I can just try to see if I can get another ticket. She goes, no, it's fine. You do what you do, Anna. You just do what you do. It's like, okay. All right. And then Hannah, and you see fucking Hannah in the background just going, I get involved. Hannah, now's the time to get involved. Now's the time to go to HR for what you just saw, because that was really fucking weird. That was really weird. Hannah's like, Eventually, Anastasia, she keeps getting texts from Christian. He's like, I'm really horny. Meet me at my place. And he's like, okay. And so she goes to his place, but she does not meet Christian. She meets Miss Jones, who I guess is one of Christian Grey's many assistants in his escapades. And she's like, Christian Grey is ready for you in his game room. She's like, yeah, I love Mario Kart. And so she goes into the game room in his sex dungeon. And he's like, I figure we can do some bondage today. And she's like, well, even though I said I want to settle for a vanilla relationship, I've been liking all the spanking and all the fingering in the elevator, so let's do it. And so he cuffs her, to the bed, this red velvet bed, cuffs her there, her ankles and her wrists, and uses some cuffs as well. I guess he uses cuffs on her wrist, and he ankles her he attaches some, that's what it is. He attaches some bondage equipment to her ankles, which keeps her, like, she can't move her legs at all. And then he puts handcuffs on her wrist. And then he goes down on her again, but we don't really see any because they block it constantly, so we can't really see anything. We don't see any penetration at all. And then they make love, and that's it. Then Christian Grey, it's after, they're having a nice after-sex, post-sex conversation. And Christian's saying, you know what? I don't want you to work with that Mr. Hyde anymore. And she's like, why? He's like really cool and stuff. He got me a beer once. And he goes, yeah. The thing is, though, I'm doing research of the company, but even though I'm not going to buy it. And she goes, I think you're going to buy it. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to buy it. But even if I did, I still wanted to do research anyway. And I found out that Mr. Hyde, in the past 18 months, had 3 senior assistants that all left under mysterious circumstances, and everything about them had been erased from human resources. She's like, I mean, that's like no big deal or whatever. And he's like, I think that kind of is a big deal, Anna. I'm here to protect you. I'm here to watch you. I'm here to control you. She's like, stop controlling my life, Christian, okay? You got to stop doing that. And he's like, I hate it when we fight. It makes me so angry. She goes, well, it makes me angry too. And he's like, you want to have sex again? She goes, yeah. And they have sex again. After that, we then cut back to Anna. She's going back to work. Chad's going back to work, and everyone's leaving for the day. And she says goodbye to Hannah. Hannah's like, goodbye, Anastasia. And, she leaves, and it's her and Jack. Jack Hyde are the last 2 employees there, and Jack Hyde has a couch in his office, and he's just splayed completely across it, Chad. Just like, he's doing that man spread. He's like, hey, Anna, have fun with your boyfriend? She goes, oh, yeah, we had a really nice weekend. He goes, I want to talk to you in my office right now, Anna. I need to talk to you about several things. He goes, oh, okay, no problem. And she goes in the office, and he's like, I'd like you to sit down if you don't mind. She goes, okay. He's like, listen, Anna, I have to say, I've appreciated you in the beginning, with what you've done, but I think you've been a little neglectful. It's like people would kill for this job, Anna. Not only would they kill for this job, they'd fuck to have this job. And she's like, Mr. Hyde, if I've done something to upset you, please let me know. As your senior assistant, I'm here to help. He's like, oh, there's a lot of ways you can help me right now, Anna. And she's like, Mr. Hyde, I don't feel very comfortable right now. I'm gonna go. And he's like, don't you fucking open up that door. And she's like, tries to open, and he goes, bam! He slams the door shut, and he has one arm on either side of her like this. And he's like, listen, okay? I like you. I like you a lot. And that Christian Grey, there's some things that you just don't know about him. I know him. And the thing is, Anna, he can't make you come. Like I could make you come. Because there's something you need to know about me, Anna. I don't have sex. I fuck hard. He's like, oh, he's like an evil Christian Grey, I guess, or an even worse version. And she's like, you're making me really uncomfortable right now, Mr. Hyde. He's like, yeah, I can make you come so hard. And he's like going in on her as he's about to kiss her. He's kind of worked towards her pants. And she just fucking grabs his hand and goes, bah! And she snaps his thumb until the bone pops out. He's like, ah! And then she knees him in the groin. He's like, oh. And then she just runs out of the office. She runs out of the office. She's like, I'll get you, you fucking bitch. And she runs out there. And who happens to be right out there, chat? Fucking Christian Grey. And with Taylor and everything. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. And he's like, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe what just happened. He's like, what happened? Tell me what happened. And he's like, it's Mr. Jack Hyde. I mean, he seems so nice. That name seems so nice, but he tried to fuck me. He sexually assaulted me. He's like, okay, you wait here. I'll go kill him. And she's like, no, Christian, don't kill him. You can't do that. Killing's bad. And he's like, all right, well, Taylor will take care of you. And he's like, come with me, Miss Steele. She's like, no, I need to clear my mind of all this. This is all fucked up and weird. Anyway, after all that chit chat, where the fuck are we? Oh yeah, that's the other thing too. Mr. Hyde has this other great quote in it. It's like, listen, Anna, I know you want to get, further in the publishing industry. The thing is though, in order to do that, you need to fuck your way to prominence. Which I'm like, that's a hell of a goddamn quote. No, I won't believe a man named Mr. Hyde was a bad guy. It makes no sense with the bus. It makes literally no sense. Then it's the next, Anna goes to his apartment afterwards, and she's been fired. Or no, not she hasn't been fired. Mr. Hyde's been, she walks in, that's what happens. She walks in his apartment, he's on the phone with someone going, yep, all right, thank you very much. And he goes, okay, he's been fired. And she's like, wait, did you buy the publisher? He goes, no. I mean, I was going to. I lied to you. I was going to buy the publisher. But I know the CEO of the publisher, and they fired him. And she's like, oh, wow, but, what's going to happen now? And he's like, well, what you should do is move in with me, and I can control every aspect of your life. And she goes, you know what? On second thought, I think that's a good idea. I think, I'm kind of in agreement. And then it's like, all right. Okay. But she's like, I still need to organize a few things, all right? Because I still want to work, Christian. He goes, I don't want you to work. I want you to be my sub. And she's like, well, I can be your sub, okay? But I still want to work too. It's a part of the arrangement. And he's like, fine. And she goes to work the next day, and she goes to speak to the HR woman, who I don't understand why she has the job still. Everything's in chaos because the HR woman says, oh, Anna, I don't know if you heard, but Mr. Hyde, he put in his resignation last night, and he just left. And so we have no representatives to speak with the other executive editors for the publisher. Could you fill in? And she's like, oh my God, executive editor, I don't know. And she's like, yes, it's too much of you. It's asking way too much of a senior assistant. And she goes, you know what? No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go and speak to these executives, and we're going to have that meeting. She's like, okay, cool, because they're in the next room. And then she goes into the next room, and the executives are like, I believe we should focus on the clientele that we have. We should publish books that they are into for the time being. And it goes, I think we should publish books for, like, new demographics. And they're going, what do you mean, new demographics? He's like, well, I think, like, a lot of 18 to, like, 24-year-olds, like, I'm 24, I like reading. I think we should publish books for their interests, okay? And we should also get, like, authors who are around the same age, because people who read books want to read books from people who are the same age. Everyone's going, that's brilliant. That's fucking, you saved the Anastasia Steele. You saved the company. She's like, oh my God. He's like, you should just be the editor. You should just be the executive editor of this division. And she's like, really? Yes. You based on, oh my God, we would have been fucked if you had not said that 18 to 24-year-olds also read books. We wouldn't know what to do. And she's like, I do what I do. And he's like, and you do it well, Hannah. Welcome aboard. You are now the executive editor of this entire fucking publishing division. She's like, well, that was really easy and stuff. And so after that, she then goes back to Chris. She's like, I wonder if fucking, like, Christian had something to do with this. Because she goes and meets Christian. And she's like, listen, I just wanted to, like, ask you, did you have anything to do with this? Because they're having dinner or something. He's like, no, Anna, that was all you. I mean, all those old fucks, how would they know that 18 to 24-year-olds also read books? She goes, I know, right? It's like they just don't know. And he's like, agreed. And then, she gets accustomed to working at the office and things. And then Hannah, and then I'm like, I would have fired her. If I was the executive public, I don't know if I have, I guess you don't have that power. Maybe she does. But If I was in Anastasia's position, I would have fired Hannah, because Hannah comes over to Anastasia and she goes, "Listen, I just wanted to say that things have become so much better that now you're in a position that Mr. Hyde was in, because, you know, he was sexually assaulting all the previous senior assistants, but nothing was done about it. And she's like, oh, well, you know, girl power, we got to protect our own." She goes, of course. And then she walks away. And it's like, why didn't you fucking tell her that, Hannah, when you noticed all the signs that Mr. Hyde was being a piece of shit? And she's like, not my problem. And all of a sudden, she's like, oh, you're trying to make up for the fact. She's like, you're trying to protect your job. Hannah's a bad person. Hannah's a fucking bad person. I'm telling you that right now. Anyway, after that, because that's the thing. Anastasia's like, well, you know, because Christian's letting me work and doing my own shit. Christian's let me have my own job, which is like really nice. And she's agreed to move in with him, but she's got to organize everything too. She's going to pick up all her stuff from her apartment. She's got to break her lease and do all that shit. But she wants to do it herself. She doesn't want him to do it, right? And she's like, no, I want to do it. I want to be controlled. He's like, no. And so there are some boundaries between them now. But she goes back to her apartment chat and she's getting stuff. And then she turns, as we know, she has no peripheral vision, because as she's moving things around her apartment, somehow Gollum Girl has gotten in, or she's been living there for this entire time. Because as she's walking around, she like passes by like an open door, and then Gollum Girl's just, just standing there. But when she like walks back, she's gone. So she's like crawling through the fucking walls or something. But as she's like packs up all these boxes and she's about to leave, she turns around and Gollum Girl's there pointing a gun at her. And she's like, oh, what do we have that? What do you have that we don't have? The master doesn't want us anymore. And she's like, whoa, listen, he told me what happened to you, okay? But, you know, we can get you help. I know that he's been kind of fucked up and he's been manipulative and really bad towards women. But, you know, don't do this. No, we must do this. Yes, we need to have him loves us. I mean, it's like, oh, this is not good. This is just so bad. And he's like, if we kill you, he loves us. The precious will love us again. Yes. And then Christian walks in. I'm like, why? He walks in at always the right moment. And he walks in and he just stares at Gollum Girl. And he's like, just like, you know, like, come to me. Come to me. She's like, oh, the master is here. Yes. She's like, point the gun at me, slut. And she's like, oh, yes. He points the gun at you, masters. Yes, precious. And he's like, now give me the gun. Oh, but we like having the guns. It's like, it's my gun now. And fucking Schmeagle Girl, Gollum Girl, gives him the gun. He's like, kneel. We kneels for the master. We're like dogs to the master. Yes, precious. Do you want us to suck your dick? He's like, yeah. She kneels down. He kneels down. And he turns to Anna. And he turns and says, I think you should go now. And she's like, oh my God. And so, okay. She leaves. And Taylor's like, do you want me to drive you? He's like, don't fucking touch me. I need to think this through. And we get this really sad montage of Anastasia just thinking about stuff and thinking about Gollum Girl and Christian Grey and things. Eventually, she goes back to his apartment and she's like, what happened, Christian Grey? What did you do with her? Did you abandon her yet again? He goes, no, I sent her back to Middle-earth where she belongs, obviously, okay? She's in the care of the Shire folk, of the hobbits. She'll be better. She'll get better. He says I put her in a psych ward. And well, she'll get the help that she needs. And she's she's furious at him. She's like, how many women have you treated like this? How many more of them are out there? Is this what I'm just going to eventually turn into? Is this like what I'm going to fucking be to you? Just like another Schmeagle, like a Gollum girl? And he's like, Anna, listen to me. He's like crying at this point. Our thing with is there's no way any guy can pull this off, no matter how good looking they are. They just, it can't happen. It's just like, it's just so fucking bizarre and creepy and weird. And it's like, no. And she's like, I'm done. I'm leaving you. And he's like, no, Anna, no, don't go. And she's like, we always said no secrets, Christian, no secrets. And you're still keeping secrets from me. And he's like, okay, along with being a crack baby. And he's like, oh shit, along with being, I have other secrets I have indeed kept from you. Luke, the boss thing with the base. Wait, so did he actually ban her before? No, well, she sucked his dick. That happened. I don't know what else he did. But then he sent her back to the Shire, and we're told she's much better now, chat, so don't worry about it. It's fine. But he's like, yes, and this I'm like, all right. So we had the big reveal that he was a crack baby. And I'm like, again, how they revealed that was fucking hilarious. But there's more. There's more. Jake is like, that's the thing. I'm not a dom or a sub, Anna. I'm a sadist. And that's the thing, Chad. He's a sadist. And he reveals to her, I love hurting women. He admits this. I love hurting women. Except it's a specific kind of woman, Chad. He says, I love hurting and fucking women. And he says, I love fucking hurting women that look like my crack whore mother. And I'm like, give me a break. No. And her reaction to this is, I know. Like it's a Star Wars moment. It's like, fucking Leia going to Han's like, I love you. And he going like, I know you do. It's like, oh, but it's like, no. So she apparently has knownness for, she's like, yeah, I know. No, I know. I look like your mom, your crack whore mom. And I know that all these other women have looked like me because you want to it's some Oedipus Rex shit. It's some Oedipus shit where he likes to hurt and fuck women that look like his mother. And again, Anna's like, and she says, I know, and I'm gonna be here for you. And I'm like, no, this is awful. This is horrible. And then they fucking cuddle. They cuddle, and she touches his chest because he's more open with her now than ever. And then they have sex. They have nice, good old-fashioned missionary sex chat. And then he works out. He then does like workout montage and everything. She's like on the bed naked watching him because she's like, oh, your body is a temple. I love you. And then he's like, hey. Oh, that's the thing too, because then he goes to sleep. And he has the fitful nightmare when he was a crack baby. And he wakes up and he goes, oh, and she's like, what's wrong? He says, I just had a horrible dream. She's like, I'm here for you. He's like, I know. I want you to be here for me forever. Marry me. And she's like, I need to think about it for like a couple of days. He's like, oh, fine, okay. And so then we cut, and Anna gets on the phone with her best friend who is marrying Christian Grey's brother. And it's just, she reveals that Christian proposed to me. He asked me to marry him. She goes like, oh my God, girl, get in there. I'm fucking marrying his brother. I'm trying to buy him a tie. Do you know what kind of ties my soon-to-be husband like? She goes, no, I don't. I mean, shouldn't you know? She goes, well, I don't really listen to what he says, but he has all that fucking money, girl. And she's like, okay, well, I'll see you later. She goes, okay, bye. And then she finds the tie she wants because it looks ridiculous. What are we doing now? Oh, yeah. Oh, and this is the weirdest part. This could have been cut out of the movie completely because we then cut to Christian Grey, who's decided to, like, along with Taylor, hey, Taylor, instead of, I'm just so happy because, I revealed to Anastasia that I'm a sadist and I like to fuck and hurt women that look like my mother. I just feel like flying a helicopter today. And Taylor's like, well, today is a good day to die, I suppose. And so they all go in the helicopter, and the helicopter malfunctions, and it seemingly crashes, and him and Taylor perish in the crash chat. We then cut to Anastasia and the entire Christian Grey family watching the news. about this, and like, oh God, he was the best of us. It's like, was he though? Was he? And it's like, I can't believe this happened, and based on everything that like has happened to me so far, because he proposed to me, it's like, this is just the worst. Actually, you fucking dodged a bullet. You dodged a goddamn bullet. You know, the fact that he died. Maybe he left you some money at that point. You never know. And the thing is, they're watching the news. They're actually watching the news. And the news says, we're at the scene of the wreck. We're at the scene of the wreck, okay? And we have not found any bodies so far. They're still filtering through the wreckage of the helicopter, okay? So, like, they're on the ground. They're showing the helicopter and shit. And then all of a sudden, chat, the elevator to the penthouse opens up, and Christian Grey is there. And I'm like, what's going on? And everyone's like, oh my God, Christian, you're fine. We were just told that they're still trying to find survivors of the helicopter, and he's right there, and there's no explanation. There's no explanation as to why he's there. Taylor, I guess Taylor's there. He got a broken arm, but he's doing okay. I'm like, oh, thank God Taylor's here too. It's like, what? And it's like, you could have cut all of that out of the movie, and it would have been fine. It would have been absolutely fine. After that, Anastasia goes to like one of those shitty corner vendors, and she buys a USB drive. She buys a USB drive with like a specific cover, and she's like, I want that one. The guy's like, okay. And he's like, can you put it in a gift box? And he's like, okay. And he gets a gift box. After that, she then goes to the Xbox sex room, where she has sex with Christian Grey again. And after they make love, she then produces the oh God. This looks like a ring to him, and he opens it up, and it's a USB drive, and he flips it over, and it says yes on the cover of the USB drive. I'm like, this is like the shittiest engagement present ever. It's like, Chad, I don't care. Like, you do not gift your betrothed a USB drive that says yes on it. It's just weird. I don't understand it. And he's like, oh, wow, Anna, I love this. I'm going to wear this forever. She's like, great, I knew you'd love it. But it's Christian Grey's birthday party. He's turning 25. Sure he is. Yeah. And fucking dog years. I don't know. He looks like he's in his 30s at the very least, but whatever. He's turning 25 years old, and he's the youngest billionaire of all time. Eat your fucking heart out, Mark Zuckerberg. And they have the birthday party, and everyone's like, Christian, you're great. We all love you. And then, Christian's mom walks over to Anna, and she's like, oh, I got to say, Christian's never been happier. You're so good for him. You're so good for him. And she's like, oh, thank you. And then Christian Grey is like, I want to make a toast, everyone. I'm here to make a toast. I'm like, oh, a toast from Christian Grey. This is a rare thing. And he's like, yes, Anna, come over here. And she's like, she has like she makes the weirdest sound when he beckons her over. She goes, I don't even know how to describe it. Just, maybe she's already becoming Gollum chat already. Yes. But she goes over there. He's like, I would like to mention this to everyone. She's like a donkey. Hee-haw, hee-haw, this donkey. I am marrying the donkey. I'm marrying Anastasia Steele, and I'm so happy. Everyone's like, we love you. Anna's so good. That's great to hear. That's great to hear. After that, Kim Basinger is also, somehow she's still coming to all these parties, coming to his birthday party. And she's just proceeded to fuck with everybody. But she then confronts Christian about this, and she's fucking nuts. She's like, how could you do this? After everything I've taught you, you're settling down. You can't do that. You can't do that. You're not even a man. You can't please her. You're just a sub. You're a slutty sub. And she's like, oh, and she starts crying, and the Botox is she's just moist. The Botox starts bursting out of her skin at this point. And Anastasia walks over. She's like, what's going on? She's like, you slut. You can't please him like I did. I pleased him for so many years when he was a little boy. And you can't do what I've done to him. I'm a part of him now, and you'll never be a part of him. And then Christian Grey's mom walks over, and she slaps the shit out of Kim Bassinger's face, and like all of the collagen and Botox just shifts over, chat. And she's like got like a Harvey Dent Two-Face. It's like all engorged and shit. And she's like, "Get out of my house, you pedophile." And it's like, why did you let her inside your house for all these years anyway? Why? I think it's been kind of an open it doesn't matter. Godspeed, Anastasia. It's like, Peter. It should have been William Dafoe in this role. Might as well have been. He looks better than Kim Basinger does in this movie. I'd hate to be mean to Kim Basinger, but my God, at least William Dafoe looks natural. What I was thinking with the 2 minutes, damn, she slapped Vicky Vale, slapped the shit out of Vicky Vale. And she's like, she literally says, "You haven't seen the last of me, Christian. I will always be," and she gets out of there. And then we get to like one of the weirdest parts of the movie, which we talked about in the beginning of the review, or even before we got into the nitty-gritty details, where Christian takes Anastasia to his childhood room, which I'm like, there is no way this was his childhood room because it's all neat and proper. And there is he has a poster in his room as they're sitting down there in this fucking conversation about Kim Basinger. No one cares. You don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Because the thing that I am so focused on in this scene is that he has this 24x36 poster of the Chronicles of Riddick, not Pitch Black, not even the third film Riddick, which is actually quite good. No, the Chronicles of Riddick. And I'm like, that's impossible. No kid in the mid-2000s had a poster of the Chronicles of Riddick in their bedroom. I'm like, he told fucking Tyler or someone, just buy some posters or shit, or find some posters and just put them on my walls to make it look like I was normal. All right, I can't have all my Sonic, Rouge the Bat, Yowie posters up there. And he's like, all right. And he just put that up. It's like, it makes no sense. Like, that is bullshit. That was so fake. It's like, I forget what company did this movie. Is it Warner Brothers? Universal. Like, you could have picked anything. You could, Jurassic Park poster makes perfect sense, Chad. Or one of the other big Fast and Furious. You could have had the Fast and Furious up. No. Fucking the Chronicles of Riddick. And I'm like, all right, sure. Okay. Already it's such an inauthentic moment in an inauthentic movie. And he's like, hey, let's go to our greenhouse / indoor pool area. And so they go to the indoor pool / greenhouse, where he then gets on his knees, which he's never done. He's like, I've never done this before. I've never kneeled. And he kneels down, at least, with one of my subs. And he kneels down before Anna Chad, and he produces this big fucking ring to her. And it's like, I love you, Anastasia Steele, being my wife. This is better than a fucking USB drive. He's like, oh my God, it is. And she puts the ring on. Chat, and they all go outside. Everyone's like, yeah, fireworks, yeah. And they all watch these fireworks go off on their rich white property. They all go, all colors and shit. But it's not the end. It's not the end. Because then we cut, because they live on like a lake, like this lake, and across the lake, chat, there's someone watching them. And he's like got a fucking bottle of Jack Daniels, chat, and he's smoking a cigarette. And like when he inhales the cigarette, chat, it illuminates his face, and it's fucking Mr. Hyde. It's Jack Hyde, chat. You're like, oh, you thought you'd never have to see him again. Haha, little did you know, he knows more about Christian Grey than any of us would have thought. And he produces a picture of Christian Grey and the family and everything, the entire Christian Grey family. And he puts his fucking whiskey down, and he takes his cigarette, and he puts it behind the picture, and he burns out the face of Christian Grey. And I'm like, I cannot believe what I heard, chat. He goes, oh, I'll get you back for what you've done, brother. Dun, dun, dun. It's his brother, Chad. It's his brother. Or is it? I'll explain everything. I'll explain tomorrow, Chad. Tomorrow in my review for 50 Shades Free. But this, my friends, is my scene by scene breakdown, Chad, for 50 Shades of Grey. I hope you enjoyed it. This movie's a fuck you. It is, it is just, it's a toxic film. It's one that shows, it glorifies an incredibly unhealthy and abusive relationship. And, I mean, it's unintentionally, you can watch it because it's so unintentionally funny, but yeah, this is not BDSM culture. This is not kinky. This is just kind of disgusting. It's thoroughly unlikable characters doing thoroughly unlikable stuff that is glorified thanks to a $55 million budget. Yeah, this is, to me, a fuck you on the double toasted DT scale. You do a lot better than the movie, in my opinion. Thank you, Wicked Weekend. Thank you. Tyler Perry sheds a single tear with the reveal. He's just like, brilliant. Brilliant. What a ride. Thank you. Brother. I'm glad you guys liked it. Thank you, Alex Manel. I know some kids who were in my class did love Chronicles of Riddick, but they don't love it now. I don't know if they had a poster. They definitely did not. I refuse to believe they sold a single poster of the Chronicles of Riddick. No, can't have a cliffhanger. Like, yeah, man, that's what it is, Wes. That's the cliffhanger, baby. That's the cliffhanger. So when do we get the movie adaptation of Billionaire Dinosaur? I would fucking love that. That'd be awesome. Great review. Worst horrible soap opera ever. Pretty much, Summer Baby. But by the way, hi, Summer Baby. Welcome to stream. Hope you're doing very well. Jiba, this movie reminds me why I don't like chick flicks. The thing is, there are better chick flicks out, you know, quote unquote chick flicks. Like, you know, Mean Girls. I guess you could say that's a chick flick. But it's a great movie with great characters that are well written and that's legitimately funny and has great ideas and has a point and a message. Like, there is a lot of great, you know, I mean, chick flicks, romantic films. There's a lot of great romantic movies. And the thing is, romance isn't always about sex. There's more to that. It's about two people falling in love with each other, two people finding themselves, finding the best of themselves in each other. That's what a romance movie can be. There's some great ones out there. You know, Mean Girls is, I mean, I guess that's chick flick, but like, movie I always point to that I think is a great romantic film is Silver Linings Playbook, where, I mean, sex is mentioned, but it's never the focus. That the two main characters don't have sex in the film. It's just about them falling in love and them dealing with their various issues. Like, that's, to me, is a great romantic movie that a lot of romantic films should try to achieve to be. But, you know, like stuff like 50 Shades of Grey or 365 Days or something like that, they're just these abominations. They're these twisted, corrupted versions of what I think a lot of people think what a romantic movie is. And it's like, no, those are the worst kind. So there are some good ones out there. Gene, good to see you, Chris. What up? I am digging that lumberjack, man. Thank you. Got me. I'm rocking the flannel. Rocking the flannel. It's worse than garbage behind my shoe. I love that. And kick it to the curb. Ty, Chronicles of Riddick was the unrealistic thing. Yes, that might be. It might be the most. I mean, I don't know, man. The Chronicles of Riddick poster gave a lot of gave a lot of things a run for their money, but it's definitely up there. Truly, it's an absolute great ride. I'm sure that's no chick flick. Here's now I'm kind of tempted to use my birthday money to buy a Chronicles of Riddick poster, put it in my wall just to fuck with people who might come over. That'd be amazing. Just like Christian Grey. Hi, dear mate. Oh, my Lord. Princess Bride. That's great. Another great romantic. Well, even though it's kind of shitty what Wesley does to what Wesley and Princess Buttercup do to each other in that film. 50 Shades 365 are kind of different subgenre. Yeah, they are the messed up subgenre. Yeah. This is just a movie for desperate housewives. Sure. That sounds about right. Sad romance. Yeah, Marriage Story. That's a sad one. That's a good one, too. Yes, chap. Yes. No, Deadpool, that's great. Secretary, that at least makes sense for romance and BDSM. I think a Secretary is a much better showcase of BDSM. And I even really like the ending of that movie. I've done a review of Secretary that'll be uploaded on my YouTube channel someday. But I would recommend, if you want to get into something that is kind of like, okay, this is off the beaten path and is about BDSM, Secretary, I think, would be a good one to look at. I recommend it. I really like that movie. So good recommendation, Deadpool. Cat's Fate, I have a soft spot for. I've never seen The Hollow. Is that one with Jack Black? I've never seen that one. Billionaire Dinosaur is pretty much 50 Shades if you replace Anna with a sexy hetero man and Christian Grey with a sexy billionaire T-Rex and makes our protagonist a boy toy. Hot. Yeah, Lily, no sex. Yeah, they should have had it. It's been implied, but you don't see it. Agreed. The pain and suffering subgenre. Hellraiser. Hellraiser is a more romantic movie than this one is. Pain and pleasure. Angels to some, demons to others. The genre of rich people do shitty stuff, but it's okay because they're hot. Exactly. This is what this subgenre is. Gentlemen, why hello, Giant Elf Man. Good to see you. Just got done with my review for 50 Shades Darker. And it got darker, chap. Boy, did it. Boy, did it, chap. Gotta do the holiday someday. I never reviewed it. I don't think I've ever seen it. I think I know of it. I've never seen it. Oh, but yeah, I'm gonna take a quick break. Because that review took a lot out of me. That's a lot in that review. All right.